What's up, guys? This is Kart Talk, episode 58. I can't believe we're at 58 episodes. As you know, last episode we were in Times Square, joined by my good friend Z, Frenzy Grind in New York City. We also have two former New Yorkers with us today, alongside our longtime Super Stud member, Jeeves. Welcome, Jeeves. Welcome back, sir. How are you doing? It's been a
I'm
while.
good. I'm I am not have any affiliation to New York, but I respect New York. I am a Chicago boy, so always have to be here. Definitely a new era, but we're still playing, so let's go.
Let's go. I'm pretty happy that your wife let you join us. We much love for the mischiefs. We also are joined by birthday boy Davey Noodles. What's going on, Davey? How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, doing great. Happy to be here.
Awesome, man. Well, why don't you tell those at home a little bit about your experience with Mario Kart Tour, what you got you started in the game, if you have any precursor to the Mario Kart series, like what got you involved in the series as a whole. And by the way, just letting you know, I'm getting over a cold. It's been a rough week, so if I sound a little scruffly, that's why. But Davey, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your experience with the game, and also what keeps you going, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a day one player. I probably joined in the second tour, but I've been playing for quite some time, and I've been gold pass, and that's kind of my spending limit. I'm a gold pass only, and I've been doing that ever since gold free Cooper running was the gold
Yep.
pass reward. So kind of like the winter time of 2020, I feel like. And just really enjoyed all the variety. I mean, I think Kevin Garrett said this at one point, but the whole like role playing aspect, of building your accounts, increasing your character's levels, everything like that. I mean, that's what keeps me coming back. I love trying to strategize and figure out, okay, hey, with my own constraints of the gold pass, like how can I get the best account that I can? How can I hit the goals that I want to achieve? And so those are kind of the things that keep me coming back. And yeah, that's my story.
Love it, man. And you're not in New York anymore. You're in Texas, I believe, right?
Yeah, correct. Houston.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I mean, I think that's what drives me a lot in these episodes. It's so fun to hear the different breadth of where we're coming from. This community spans the world. We have people from Australia, from Asia, Europe, etc. So it's always cool. This because it's being recorded at 9:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's mostly Americans. So and actually all of us are right now Americans, but the main point of it is that this game does span a couple of different zip codes for what's matter, or area codes for that matter. So we'll head all the way west. Todd, so I guess introduce yourself. Thank you for joining, man. First of all, I know we've been talking about it a little bit. You're going for top 100, so excited to have you on. But tell the community a little bit about yourself, why you started playing Mario Kart Tour to begin with, and any other reasons why you continue playing this game, or what you got you involved in the Mario Kart original series to begin with.
Yeah, day one player, lifelong Nintendo nerd, 1980s Nintendo Fun Club member, Nintendo Power Magazine subscriber. Always loved the Mario Kart games. Going back to, well, Double Dash, I guess, was the first one that I played a lot, and then Wii was something of a thing for a very long time. Yeah, my roommates and I put countless hours into Mario Kart Wii, so I was super excited when Tour came out. I liked that for the first time you could kind of see how you stacked up against the competition around the world. We had this thing that you could do time trials against ghosts, and that was pretty much the extent of how do you compare to players around the globe. But this, you can get basically real-time data on how you're playing, and I appreciate that element of it. So yeah, started out pretty casually, and then basically found this community and started to ramp up a little bit, and have been going for top 100 this tour. My first top 100. It's going well at this point. I think I'm number 80 as of last night, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Okay. You like you have a good number of tracks already set in, or how are you feeling so far?
Yeah, I have 7 tracks left that I haven't really grinded yet. I don't know if that's the right use of the word. And I'm sitting at like 2.2, 2.3. So I think I'm in pretty good shape.
Okay. All right. Well, some of us like Jeeves and I will be starting our ACR grind here shortly. But I mean at the same point in time, like I do think that and this is a topic we'll discuss over the next, probably at least an hour or so, is just, like what is the new state of the game? And for us, perennial top 100s, just like every tour, just put in like minimum effort, you get like, I don't know, 80-85% and just get top 100 every tour, which is what honestly is how I find the most joy in the game. It's just playing every single track just a little bit, just enough to get a nice double coin box frenzy, maybe a double coin frenzy, maybe a lucky 7 coin, something like that. Like just on every single track, that brings me a lot of joy. And I have a pretty beefy account, so that's all it really takes to be able to do that on every single track. But I play like literally every single track to get a decent-ish run. So that's how I find joy in the game. And I know for some people who don't have as beefy of account, like it's like a top 10 run, but with less of a beefy account. So a lot of effort goes into that, especially for yourself, probably putting 50-60 hours into it just to get that top 100. So much kudos, wish you the best, absolutely, and happy to jump into it. This is like the first official episode. I know last time we were in Times Square, it's really the first episode like we've actually sat down and processed everything that's going on with this new loop mode. So I sent out some good questions. The icebreaker was a little unique. It just was a little bit kind of cheeky. Just like I think when it comes to if someone were in 2033, so basically like in 10 years from now, they just bring up Mario Kart Tour. Just imagine somebody knows something about Mario Kart Tour in 10 years. I think the game, like as optimistic as I am about the game and where it's going to go, I think even if it were to stay around for 5 years, that's like a really good scenario. But 10 might be a stretch. So I do think it could be sunset between 5 to 10 years. Let's just say it is. Someone mentions it. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the first memory? What's the first experience that pops to the top of your head? Sorry. Jeeves, why don't you start us out?
The first, well, I mean, it's not a fate of the game anymore, but it's the beloved Crapper 10 pole.
The Crapper 10 pole, of course, the CTP.
We had
some great CTPs.
Just
what's your favorite CTP?
Oh, I did a Mile High CTP, remember?
You did. Yes.
Mile High.
Yes. Do you remember? I think it was the chocolate macaroon. That might have been mine. My favorite one that I got, because that was pretty ironic.
But I remember struggling because the Wi-Fi on the plane wasn't really good. But we got through it. We had I think that was like a pure element of the game that's just pure joy. It has nothing to do with racking up points or skill or whatever. But like I think it was like me and ED that was in there. We were flying to Disney World, my family, and I mean, it's just stuff like that. Just like, I mean, I know it's like we always say we get the gotcha part of it, but that was just for the community. It was such a joyous thing. Just pulling pipes for your buddies. I remember Sammy one time doing it, but he's like, it was before I met him. Like he had a video. And he said sometimes it's just fun to sit and have beers with your boys and pull pipes. I'm like, who the heck does that? But like, yeah, I mean, it was just so much fun. And I mean, I remember, I did on a video with the Frenzy fans, like
nice.
On one. And I got a trip.
Wait, you had the camera going? That's kind of odd, but that's another story.
My there, so I just left.
Okay.
But they were able to hear the echo and the toilet flush.
Wait,
and stuff.
The echo of the drop
of the
pool
room.
Okay, got it. Okay, no worries. All right, hey, quick transition. Davey Noodles, what's your someone from 2033, 10 years from now, brings up Mario Kart Tour? What's the first thing that pops into mind? What's your first memory that you think about?
Yeah, very similarly, it is of the pipes. Pipes is far and away the first thing that's going to pop into my mind. I mean, it was exciting. It was sometimes agonizing, especially when you're dealing with limited resources and you're like, okay, am I going to get lucky or what's going on here? And so, I mean, there's a couple excellent ones. I remember I had gone pretty all out to get Kamek when he first came out.
Oh yeah.
And I was running super low on rubies the next tour when Kangaroo Yoshi came out.
Oh.
And I really wanted him, but I did not have anywhere near the 450 to try to pull it. But I did 110 pull and nailed him, and that was superb. A little bit similarly, I got Ty Daisy on the first 10 pull, and like those are probably easily my two best ones, and really helped my account for quite some time. Couple other ones. I went down to the very last one for PD Piranha, who I ended up never ever leveling up ever. Yeah, so it was a total waste. And Yoshi Gold Egg also, all the way down to the very last one. And I had to wait until winning ranked in week 2 to have enough rubies to get my last pulls in to try to get him. And was able to get it, but like sweating that out, I'm like, am I going to have to break my gold pass only budget, or, what am I going to do here? But those are some of the more agonizing ones, some super thrilling ones, but definitely it's the pipes.
Man, those are some great moments. I can already like go back now in my mind, just like thinking about like, oh geez, am I gonna have to like get another ruby pack? That's like worst case scenario for me, but for you who's gold pass only, like that's the brand, that's the lifestyle that you live in. Like you probably came close a couple different times, so that's awesome to hear. Yeah, man, I miss the pipes already. I'm hoping Todd helps us out. So having a non-pipe league, because I'm right now I'm like, oh man, this like we should have seen this was coming. This day where like the non-pulling pipes were gonna lead to where we are in loop mode now. But Todd, 2033.
Yeah, I would say just the fact that it existed will be a memory. Calling up a friend for the first time and saying, hey, you have to download this app. I can race you Mario Kart right now.
Boom.
Online multiplayer. Let's do it. And then seeing how buggy it was and how it never really achieved the greatness that it could have in my mind. That'll be a lasting memory. Another memory will probably be, oh yeah, Mario Kart Tour. Wow, can't believe how much money I dumped into that game. Even if you're gold pass only, it adds up after 5 years.
There's that for sure. I would say that I can't believe the first time where I remember inviting a friend, because that's how I got started in the game. I was a pandemic player, so I had started 4 or 5 months after everyone else. And it was like literally like, hey, we can play multiplayer, and then I would crush a guy, a friend. Shout out to Ryan. He's probably not watching because he doesn't pay attention to any stuff that I do here on my channel. But yeah, I was like, dude, Ryan crushed you. He's like, no, you didn't. First of all, I shot a green shell, it hit you, and then I scooted in front. I got first place. And I was like, that's not what happened. As you can see, I got first place, and it just became like this like tension, and like COVID. There's enough tension as it is. So like that, like it just took like 2 matches, and they were done. Like they were just so over it, and like I don't think they have. I mean, they know that I have a channel and stuff, but like they're like, yeah, whatever, dude. That game is garbage. There's nothing happening. That they're not gonna fix that stuff. Like there's stuff going on. Like you win, and like no one else. There's phantom mode, and yeah. So anyway, long story short, my friends did not just keep up with me at all, which was totally fine. Honestly, they looking in hindsight, they might have been the winner there because of all the time and energy I put into this game. I would say though, they don't have as many friends as I do here in the community, because I have people like yourselves who have just been awesome to get to know. And honestly, it's people like them that I've probably seen maybe Ryan like twice in the last 2 years, and probably Brian maybe once in the last 2 years, mainly because of when it comes to COVID, and like you just see who your real friends are, and just like that is what I mean. These were gym bros. These were just like guys I was lifting with in the gym. And like they're cool. We were playing Mario Kart Tour, like actually Mario Kart at their house, just for like, you know, kicks and giggles. But ultimately, like this has been my family for the last 4 years. It's actually pretty surreal to think about, you know, the what where we are in the game. You know, because there's been so many great friendships, so many great people that I've gotten to know over the last 4 years, and like just even spending time with Frenzy Grind this past week and I guess 2.5 weeks ago in New York City, just remind me of the fact that you guys are my friends, you guys are my community, and as much as I'm sad to see the game kind of move into this next mode, I'm so happy for the friendships I've made, and I hope that we get to continue going forward. And that is my very sob story transition to our next conversation, which is what, if any, I'm hoping you guys, I knew you guys prepare for this to a certain extent. Not probably Jeeves. Jeeves probably didn't prepare at all. But what good things came from this loop mode of year 5? We're gonna start a positive note, guys. Like, what from this loop mode can we take away and turn a negative into a positive? And I won't start with Jeeves because Jeeves probably did not prepare for this, but I know our birthday boy Davey Noodles did. Davey, what positive did you take away from, or so far over the last month of this year 5?
Yeah, I mean, I really do think there are a lot of positives that you can take away. You know what's coming, right? So you can plan accordingly for whatever goal you want, and you know what investments are going to make sense for you or your account. And you can do that without just having to speculate, right? It's pretty much a known commodity in terms of what's happening. So I think that's really good. You know, especially for those people on limited budgets, right? You kind of know, okay, hey, where can I get the biggest bang for my buck, or you know, what would that look like? And I think that that's really helpful. I also find it in general kind of liberating. You can take a little bit of a step back, right? I still enjoy playing. I still want to play every day, but I don't necessarily always feel quite the need to get the highest score, right? Or to push myself to the brink. Like I don't have to grind 30, 40 hours and, you know, I can get by with less. And, you know, I mean, right now, at least where my account is, you know, my goal each tour is top 1K. And, you know, I can do that at like somewhere between 77% of, you know, the DKR sheet. And I like being able to do that and hit it consistently and put in less and less time in order to do that. Because I do feel like it was getting to a point where you were spending, at least I found myself spending more time than I probably should have at a few points. So I do think it's liberating from that front too. Those would be my 2 positive takeaways.
Yeah, no, we love liberation. Liberation is great for this community and in general. I'll let Todd take it from there. Todd, what would be like one positive thing that you've taken from this year 5, and what some could consider, you know, a lot of negatives, but what would you take away from a positive?
Yeah, I think Davey hit the nail on the head a little bit there. I'd add that the idea of like having to keep up with the Joneses in terms of what you're committing your resources to, you don't have to feel that as much anymore. You can kind of look at your account and just knowing what's coming ahead, or even just, you know, items that you like that you want to take up to a high level. You can do that without having to worry about, oh, is this item peaking? Is this item going to be in ranked more often than not? What's everyone else investing in? The idea, it's definitely liberating.
Man, Jeeves, you got to take the liberation, man. You are Mr. Liberation. So I know you have a great answer for this, but what's one positive you're taking away from this loop mode year 5?
I mean, for me personally, there's a lot. I mean, I don't want to sound like repetitive, but yeah, it's nice to have kind of you know, we've talked about on the show many before, like a lot of this new stuff is just being thrown at us. And it's hard to even get a grasp of what's in there, and it's, this is a nice like big sigh of relief. Me, okay, let this just all sink in. So I don't, with it, I don't. Everyone's like, oh, I see a lot of people just being, oh, like the game's over. It's like it's not, because like, now we can actually just settle down and see what this stuff does. Take a look at the data, what's good for your account, whatever. So, but like, I don't want to repeat that because I think that's kind of what we're saying. One of the things that I like is, even though like these are kind of these recycled loop tours things, exactly what we had a year ago, there was a lot of stuff that was brought to us since that tour last time a year ago. So a perfect example is like these airship fortresses. Most of them I used the coin box on. I used Meowser or Kamek or something. Now I'm using
Gold Ball Bomb, maybe.
Yeah, or King Boomy, or using a King Boomy. I'm using a DK suit with So I like that aspect of it. Using drivers with different skills on these tracks that have been around for so long.
Yeah, because they're Mii's.
Yeah, it's different still. So like, for a day one player that's that has gone with the Mii stuff or whatever. Now it's different if you don't have the Mii's or whatever, but like that's you say so in a way it's the exact same tour, but it's not, because I'm using a different loadout.
True.
And thing with
I love the fact that they show you like what your previous best was and the loadouts that you had. And so like you can say, okay, what did I have whenever I got my previous best score? And that was 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 months ago. How has my account changed? What am I doing now that's different? And I think that's super interesting.
Some of the stuff that you've invested, a lot of like what people do, they'll again, this is just for me, is like you pick when I would get like a new item, I would take it the 7 double. That was kind of like the okay, and go one. I'll just take it the and see where it goes, or 8 double or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's been not a whole lot, but like a handful of items that I did. Okay, well, Smiley Flower Glider, or the Smiley Glider, got this one. It wasn't around a year ago. So that helps, I mean, yeah, you can see it if you use like the trackers and stuff, but it's like those it's like a little surprise. Cool, that worked. So it's nice to see like what these like newer, like these items that have been released in the past year, what they actually do. You know what I mean?
For sure. No, for sure. It is it is interesting to see these little surprises. I would say there are some it's always kind of cool to invest in an old item every once in a while. I remember investing in the Tanuki Kart. It was probably about this time last year, which had already been out for like 6 months or something like that. And I remember just like all the different tracks that I was now getting exposed to, that I might have invested mainly for like a DK Mountain or something. Might have been like kind of a year ago, a tour from now or something like that, where like I would just like, it's Dino Jungle and like, Rock Mountain. Like I'm getting all these tracks from like Tanuki Kart, like here it is, let's go. Like, because I had like kind of leapfrogged, this newer item over an older school item that I was using on, like, I can't tell you how many carts I have leapfrogged that the Wild Black as an example, or the Rose Queen, where it's like I don't use it anymore, even though at the time it was like my favorite card. It was like the best card in my account. But that's just kind of how the state of where the game is, and like you invest in something, you take anything to 8 triple, and like it's gonna just surprise you just randomly from time to time. And there'll be other times where it overlaps with other 8 triple items, because that's kind of where we are in the state of the game. But maybe that happens to more whales than not. But I think that's I think those are all just positive experiences for this game, is like when you see like, oh, here's a cool investment, made sense at the time, and now I'm paying dividends. I would say that's probably a good transition to our next question, which is how has the following changes in year 5, which is the introduction of loop mode, how have these following changes impacted your account? So I have a couple. like there's kind of like a bulleted thing. I'll go one by one, but you know, and again, if the flow of the conversation takes us elsewhere, totally fine with that. But I want to talk about investments because you just alluded to it, Jeeves. But you know, now we're in year 5. There's kind of like I don't know, there's like a little trickling of like YOLO mode. Like people are just a little bit more like, I want to invest in what I love, and we'll see where the chips fall. Like I want to know about investments in year 5. What investments have you made? What investments do you want to make in year 5 in this loop mode that you may or may not have wanted to make outside of loop mode? And I have no problem breaking the ice because I went all in on Waluigi Me Suit. That's right. It gave me 8 tracks at 8 double. I haven't even tripled it yet because I don't have enough gap tickets. I'm like 1 away from it, but I'm happy to triple that one. Gives me 8 tracks, which is a decent amount for me. But for me, it's about the love of the game. I mean, we're talking about my boy Waluigi, man. It's as you know, Waluigi is my favorite driver, like my favorite Mario character in the game. Dating back to Mario Tennis and some of the weird games that I like to play, Mario Party, etc. So I'll have to hear from you guys. Some YOLO investments, year 5. Which ones have you made? Which ones do you want to make? Let's jump into it. I feel like, Jeeves, you're just dying to jump in. Let's go ahead and start with you, man.
Because like before you talk about Waluigi, can I get a Waluigi impression, a voice from you?
Wow.
All right. Now, I mean, in terms of the question, like I'm still kind of sitting back and trying to see like what to do. Like I haven't. The only really major move I did was I took my bronze me from 1 to 8, and
okay.
I'm doing, I've been with everything, and this is another question that you have later, but like I had the tickets to do it, and I think with the level up tickets that for some reason, like, I'm not. I mean, I don't need to use them much because I think a lot of things are kind of at an 8 already, so they've just been compiling up. What I've been doing is I've been just, if anything kind of was like at a 7 double, I would look to maybe take it to an 8, just because I'm getting.
Are you talking about like non-me's, or
yeah.
What are you referring to?
Karts and gliders.
Karts and gliders. Okay.
So another pure example was like the Silver Star Shoot. It's been around for I don't know how many years, and it was great. And there's every tour like it's somehow around. And I'm like, man, I should just. But like it's old, so I'm like, I don't want to. I never wanted to throw 12 tickets to take it to quad. But this tour, I'm like, well, there's not going to be any new stuff. Might as well. It's
okay. I'm a super big fan of this Silver Star Shoot. So, but like, how many tracks would it give you this tour? Was there like a specific track that gave it like
they don't
really up
on this tour? I just noted that it's around a lot, so I'm like, okay. So like I'm looking very with all this like again with this loop stuff. You're not really looking long term these days. You're just looking what's there now. So,
some people might be looking long term, like looking at the entire year. Like that's kind of what we're focused on the rundown. Is like, hey, yeah, this may not be this tour or next tour, but like what's happening, throughout the next a couple years, or next 11 months. So from that perspective, like maybe I personally love the Silver Star Shoot. It was like an awesome glider in 2021 or whatever it was. But yeah, it's been since forgotten. But there are a couple items like that. I even think like the regular off-roader. It's sitting at 7 triple, which like, for me, I have a lot of things 8 triple. I don't have like, it's like the only thing I have like 7 triple, like that I've like kind of left it behind, but I know that I'm going to pull it. I know that once I invest it, once I take it to 8, it's like halfway to 8, which again, it's like 4 tickets. But I know as soon as I do it, I'm gonna pull it like 3 all clear pipe, in a row, and I'm just gonna be like, oh gosh, I just dropped a bunch of tickets on something I could have just pulled my way there, because this is going to be forever a part of this all clear pipe. So anyway, long story short, I'm with you. I understand it. Like this is one of these old school items that's been, it could help us on a lot of accounts. And so did you actually invest in it, Jeeves, then?
In the Silver Star Shoot?
Silver Star Shoot?
Yeah, I put the 12
Good
tickets
for
in
you,
the
man. Love it.
those are my big ones, like the Silver Star Shoot and the Bronze Me. I threw one cap ticket on the Bronze Me. Just, if you're gonna take
So,
something,
yeah, I'm with you. Bronze me and like Nab at me have been just like right hanging there. I know, like I keep being told like they would be great for my account, but they're like a level 2. So like there's when you like I'm scrolling right to get to these again. For me,
like,
I don't know. I see it there when I scroll right just to goof around. I'm like, dude, if I had this, I would. And again, so good. Kudos to you. I'm probably missing out as well, but just don't acknowledge it.
to it. It's like, okay, let's just do it. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, I went Waluigi me. So there's that. At least I got that going for me. But Davey, we'll jump to you, man. Year 5. How are you treating investments? How are you kind of treating your account? Are you going YOLO mode?
I kind of am a little bit, at least for me. So like right before we got into loot mode, I mean, I was saving up tickets and I was toying with the idea of doing a top 100 run. And I don't have the skills and I don't have the time. So it had to be something where I needed to do a decent amount of investing. And, like I think about maybe 90% could be the max I'd be able to achieve. So it was like, okay, how do I do this? And it ended up not working out in terms of the last tour before loot mode for me to be able to do it. But it was one of those things where I said, you know what, I'm going to whale out anyway, at least for me. So, I mean, I went all out. I did my first ever 0 to 8-4 for the Monarch card. I did that for the Royal Flush. I got Gold Mario. I got him up to 8-4, and just had some fun. And so, I took Gold Chuck up to 8-4 and tied Daisy up to 8-4. So those have been my investments. But rather than just kind of sit on the ticket stash and go, okay, maybe I'll do the top 100. And maybe I still will at some point, but I'd rather, have fun with the drivers that I enjoy using and go from there. And I really like Gold Mario so far, just because it's a different skill set. It's something that we haven't had before, and trying to figure out, okay, hey, how can I get, I don't know if I want to call it a vacuum box or whatever with that. What's the right strategy? But I've been having fun with him. But from this point on, I think it's going to be back to the Miis. I just got my last Mii, so I've got them all in my account now. I'm excited about that. And
it's a big achievement.
Yeah, it's basically at this point, I took Yellow Mii up to 7-3 this tour. I mean, I had him at 6-2, but I'm gonna try to, I think, keep boosting my investments as opposed to filling out the gaps that I have. I'm gonna let the gaps that I have, for the most part, lie. I mean, there's 1 or 2 items I know that I have a gap on, that I want to invest in something. Like I was pretty late because I don't buy the promo passes or carts. So like I just got Silver Cupid Arrow, and that's at 1-0. And as soon as I have a chance to do something there, I probably will. But honestly, I'm probably going to, I've got Blazing Eagle at 7-3, and I'm going to probably go 8-4 with that before I go Silver Cupid's Arrow, just because it's going to be a beast next tour. So I've burned through what I've saved, by and large, but I'm having fun doing it.
Nice.
I like that thought process of like, I'm just going to give just the items that I rode this past year, just give them a little bit of a bump, just bump them up. I'm happy with the hashtag bump it up. I feel like there are a couple items I rode late because of, just where the algorithm was. Like I just like when Antelope was like, this item's gonna be great. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll finally buy into the blue crawly cart. I understand. I get it's gonna be good. And I have it here. I gotta give it the bump. That's probably where my tickets are going. If I have to think about it. Just because like some of these items, like we've been here. We've been there done that, got the t-shirt. We know what's going to be good. And some of these items are going to be like actually massive. And I'm pretty pumped to finally go back and just like, yeah, you know what? I missed you the first time around. Happy to throw these tickets at you. Brew Quality is at the top of that list for me. But Todd, I have to run it to you, man. What's as you think about this, you know, this next year investments, how are you treating these items? Have you gone yellow so far into an item, and how are you treating investments in general?
First of all, Davey, let me assuage your fears. You do not need a lot of skill to make a top 100 brewer. As I'm learning currently, I
Okay.
looked at Crazy's, you know, DKR spreadsheet, and those action counts are just like inconceivable to me. I have no idea how people get
He's
high
a
action
beast.
counts.
Love it.
So you can definitely do it. Second of all, as a fellow Waluigi fan, I 100% agree with the taking anything Waluigi up when I get the tickets back, because I invested so many tickets into random items specifically for this tour to get top 100. I took like the Bright Glider from 1-0 to 8-4 because it gave me I think 9 tracks. I think 9 tracks. The King Boo me suit was
this tour.
Yeah.
Bright Glider.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
The King Boo me suit, I think I took from like 1 or 2-0 to 8-4 because it gave me 8 tracks, I think, this tour. So
wow, that's awesome. That's a big jump.
It'll be fun to see how all those play out, like, because I don't really know what their coverage is outside of this tour. So like the next time I get to use Bright Glider, I'll be like, oh great, it paid off.
Yeah.
But awesome. Moving forward, when I get the tickets, it'll just be the items that I've wanted to invest in but have not pulled the trigger because they're not as useful in ACR or ranked, and they've just kind of sat languishing on my roster. Definitely all the Waluigi stuff. And then just like items like the Gold Trickster, I always thought was like a cool looking cart with the glowing green eyes, and it's still at 1-0, but at some point I'll put some tickets on it just for fun, stuff like that.
I love it. Well, I do have to ask, why do you like Waluigi? Because I feel like I'm like a weird dude for liking him, but I
don't know. I mean, I think I posted a picture on the Discord, but my 40th birthday cake was a Waluigi cake.
Nice.
Wow,
that's awesome.
It was, it's super embarrassing. But trying to explain that to people, why do you have a cake with Waluigi on it? You're 40 years old.
For your 40th, yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, it's always been, I mean, going back to I think Double Dash, it's just he was a fun. I like his look. I like his style.
I'm with you, man.
He's got some swag,
everyone else
some weird secret swag.
He's got some secret swag to him for sure. He's the weirdo, and I think we all have a little bit of Waluigi in us for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what everyone else is missing out on, but I still got. I think I got 2 years here before my 40th. I might go full Waluigi cake. I'm feeling it, man. Sounds delicious. Although I do not like. I'm not a big fan of purple now because of the Ravens. That's another story. But good. No, that's awesome, man. I think I will say though, when I'm looking, I'm scrolling through other people's accounts as I see them on my friend list. When I see a Monarch card like Kart level 8s, like we were talking about. Or like a level, like a Bright Glider level 8. Like these are the ones that like I just see it, I smile. And it's not even like my investment, but just like someone else believed in that item, that they took it all the way up, and this is their ride or die item. I mean, there's something about that it brings me a lot of joy in Mario Kart Tour, because we make I would say that for the most part, 90% of my investments have been meta related, because I have to stand behind what I have to eat what I preach and whatever. So when I get to have some fun, I get to go into like the Pink Comet and, stuff like that, or, Vampire Flyer. So when I see other people go into their passion, or like they just say, you know what, I like this item a lot. Or they just say, I have to do it for all cup ranking, which is fine too. But like that brings me a lot of joy too, because I know that they also, mainly because, they're my friend or whatever in the game. I also know that they also follow the meta. So like it complements however they invest in the meta. It does complement their account to some extent, which is pretty cool. So how's the following changed in year 5. We talked about investments and items, but I want to hear a little bit about how the time or motivation in the game. So I know that some people have been, you know what, they're just kind of maybe lost a lot of motivation in the game. The thing is, like, the way that I'm wired, I'm a weirdo. I'm a Waluigi at heart. So you know that I don't need motivation. I actually love this game for what it is. And I don't need like any like dangling carrot for me to play the game. I don't even need like a daily check-in, like whatever daily coins. I don't need someone to tell me to play the game. For me, I just log in, I'm like, this game is amazing, and I'm just like addicted. And so for me, like, I don't need that type of motivation. It's actually been kind of like relaxing to know that, you know, and it's tough because I have a channel, and so like there used to be this demand, like, oh, should I put out a strat for the week? Do I have like, you know, 45 minutes to try to like record something and then put something out? You know, do I, you know, I have this like, you know, project that I've been kind of working on, like, hey, I've downloaded Mario Kart now, what? And like, I had like a bunch of these, you know, side projects that have been dangling around my mind. And then like, you know, between family and work and, you know, 2 sons and wife, like, I just don't have a lot of time to do it. So for me, it's like, all that is put aside. And to me, it's like I'm actually really enjoying playing the game. So for me, that's, you know, kind of jumping into it. For me, that's like my example of that answer, because I know some people be like, oh, you know, time motivation. Like maybe what does that even mean? For me, that's what that means. It's like for me, I'm actually I probably playing the game just as much from a time perspective. I'm not seeing much of it change in motivation. I will combine that with the second category, which is um involvement in the community or talking about the game. For me, that has probably taken the biggest hit, where it's like not a lot of people are wanting to talk about the game in the communities and the servers, which is fine. Again, it kind of opens me up to just play the game more. When I feel like because I have a server, and technically I you know, I'm the leader of 2 servers. For me, it's like there is some pressure. Like, I'm like, oh, it's being a little too quiet. I should stir things up. I should get some drama going, get some conversations going. And now just like, hey, maybe people are okay with just being a member, being like involved in the community with like not a lot of chitter chatter. And maybe I could just play the game a little bit more. And so it's actually been kind of a relief in this next phase. I don't know if that's good or bad, but curious to hear from you guys, because you don't run 2 servers. How has this loop mode in fact impacted your time and motivation, and then also on the interaction with the community or contributions to, like, say, a Discord server, YouTube, etc.?
You want me to start or?
It's open. I called on you. Well, how about, you know what? I have not called on Todd yet, so we'll start with Todd. Todd, it's your time to shine, man.
All right. Well, I definitely don't need any motivation. You're talking to someone who had an in real life Mario Kart league in like 2008 when it was out for the Wii. So I've always just loved Mario Kart. Don't need the motivation. More than anything, honestly, this game has been like a mental health thing for me. I can load it up, try and get a new score, try and, you know, improve my lines on different tracks, and I'm not really thinking about anything else that's going on in the world. So I don't see any of that really changing. It's just going to be, it's going to be what it is. It's going to be my thing that I can do to decompress at the end of the day. And I don't really need to get much more out of it than that. I'll probably do enough to, you know, keep going for top 1000, or now that my account's a little beefier, maybe a few more top 100 runs, and just kind of whatever I, you know, want to get out of it, I'll put into it, basically. And then in terms of involvement with the communities, I was pretty late to the game on that anyway. So
that's okay.
I don't foresee that changing very much, other than, you know, I try and kick some ideas around in the server when I can, and definitely ask a lot of questions because, as I mentioned earlier, I do not believe I am the most skilled driver in the game. So anytime I can pick the brains of people who are better at it than I am, if it gives me a new strat or something, that's great. That's something I can try out and see how it affects my my playing.
Man, I love that, and I'm so glad that you did get involved late. I do think that for what it's worth, there might be people watching who just either didn't subscribe or become a member, and that's totally fine too. But yeah, and because I think that I want my channel to be welcoming of all different players of different types. I will say, for what it's worth, someone asked, it might have even been you. I'm trying to remember, Todd, if you asked about the Ghost Valley track, and I think it was like with Yellow Me, I just said, like, right off the bat, I'm using the item ticket and then starting it, or close hard closing it, meaning that, like, you swipe up and then just close out the app and you get your item ticket back. But I think that stretch between the starting line and the gliding section is really great for Giant Banana if you're using a Giant Banana me suit. And I think that's like it was one of those things that Antelope mentioned. I'm trying to remember. I think it was on Baby Park back in the day. And again, it might have been a year ago or so. Who knows at this point in time? It's all kind of in this weird time period. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think that the average player is doing that. I don't think the average player is using an item ticket right from the start, like literally from the start line. And then if they get Giant Banana Frenzy, they're running with the track. And if not, they're closing it down. Now, here's the thing. You will want
How
to
long
get.
does that take you?
It's a good question. It's a good question. I liked it. I liked doing it when I was at Walmart with my sons and we were in aisle 5 looking at toys. And I was like, I could literally just like it takes a lot of time in between to load it up and get it started and then run the race and then push 5 or 6 buttons. It's not something you can just like auto click, just to be clear. So yeah, it can take some time. It does take time, no doubt. But I will say, if you can get a freaking Giant Banana off that starting line, that is like the rest of the run is just made. Like you could get like a Horn Frenzy after that, and you're just made, dude. Like you have just broken every record in your record book for that track. So I will say that is a great strat for that specific track. There are other tracks. I don't think Baby Park is even that great because it was like I think it was the T version.
I think I used that exact strat on Donut Plains 3 RT with the Donkey Kong me suit. And it took me maybe 7 or 8 times to get the Giant Banana on the initial item ticket. And yeah, it was smooth sailing after that, set a new high. It was super easy.
It does take some time to make sure that you get that frenzy. And there's times where like you have like your account. We talked about this back in the day, man. This is going to date me back to 2020, 2021. Like when we were talking about Frenzy Hour, there'd be times, I still don't know if it's true or not. This is like, no one in the data mining community has verified this whatsoever. But there was like an hour where you just like were getting frenzies left and right. No matter what you did, you were just like untouchable. And then there'd be sometimes where I open the app, and I would get those. And honestly, it was mostly when I wasn't playing the game very much. Hypothetically, just to put some controversies out there. But for what it's worth, if you got that this track specifically, if you got a Giant Banana off the starting line, dude, it's such a short track. You're just dying for actions. Anyway, long story short, that's like something that you would find in the server. That's something that's a conversation, a strat that you would not know about unless you were like in the matrix of the Mario Kart Tour community, in Discord or YouTube, etc. So like I'm really proud of the communities and stuff that we've brought. And there's other people who said, hey, I'm using Gold PD. Totally cool. Just remember, as you're getting that last item box, forget the ramps that looks salivating. Looks like that's exactly what you should do. Don't do that. Go to the right of it, go around it, and just get your coin box frenzy there. And that coin box frenzy will be probably more actions than anything else you do on the course. The thing is, like, the course on Ghost Valley 2RT is just a weird course. Like you do have to play it right with the different skills. And that's why I've chosen it as the action count track of the week in our server. So if you're looking for new challenges, that's something we do. I forget what we're talking about, but anyway, the main point is like, there's different micro strategies that we talk about in our servers and the communities, and that's what the community is there for. Maybe we're not doing so much chitter chatter as like, hey, should I do invest in this or that? Because hey, you know what? The investments are starting to kind of close in. You can pretty much get away with anything at this point in time, but there are some cool stuff happening in the community. We'd love to have you. Thank you, Todd, for joining in as late as you did. We'll move to Davey. Birthday boy, tell us a little bit about some of the time differences that you're spending the game, and also how you're interacting with the community in general.
Yeah, so I do think it's down a little bit, not a lot, but down a little bit. Maybe that's because to hit the goals that I want to achieve, I can do that in a little bit less time, and I think that's good. There's some tracks that I really enjoy, and I want to play the hell out of them. I want to, get a new high score for myself and do that. I really like the Rainbow Roads. I'm happy that there's a couple back this tour.
Okay.
Having a lot of fun with those. Then there's other tracks that I just find to be a chore, and if I don't need to play them a lot, that's okay with me. It's down a little bit, but I think similar to what Todd said, like I play it for fun. I play it to kind of relax, unwind, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Part of the community, I mean, the thing that I always enjoyed the most probably was the speculation, the anticipation. Hey, what's coming next?
Yeah.
Right. How's this gonna impact, new items coming out? What tracks we think are coming? And kind of, prognosticate as best as possible in terms of what was happening. Without that, yeah, there's probably a lot less chatter, at least in, kind of the communities that I'm mostly a part of. So I do see that down a little bit, but I don't know. I try to, answer people's questions, come up with, there's a funny story or something that happened on a run that I want to share, do that, and I don't know, still be a part of it. But yeah, I do see and understand that dwindling a little bit.
I will say there's a couple of our friendly guys that are in our server that they tell these epic stories of, and we've all been there, just like blue shell at the line, it's even like a green shell at the line. We're just like, what's going on here? I love hearing those stories. Like, I mean, still to this day, it's so crazy. And prognosticate word of the day. For those who you did not know, that is to think about the future for sure. Love that aspect. I think this community in general, it's great. I actually feel like that across the entire community, like there is just pressure like relief, which is cool. And I'm so glad that some people feel that. I do feel like some people feel like they come to the server like, I want to engage, but I don't want to like start a conversation. I think in our server especially, and I think other servers too, just engage. I think there'd be, there's always people out there that would like happy to jump in, and there's no topic that's not cool enough to bring up. So feel free. I mean, especially if nothing else in our server, I feel like I've, especially as of recently, just been jumping in and responding to everybody, because I do think that like this game for where it is in this in the stage of life, and like where we are, like there are still some cool stuff happening, and it may not be like in investments. I think the investments have become kind of stale. The chase is gone. I've kind of mentioned that's kind of been that was like my initial reaction. Like the chase of like always constantly keeping up is gone, which I think has its pros and cons. But like this game still continues. There's still new stuff going on. We have Gold Mario getting new tracks. Like, there's still like a lot of cool stuff going on. So I definitely do not want that to be skimmed over any means. I do want to hear from Jeeves though before we move on, because I think that we also have some additional topics we want to talk about. But I do want to hear from Jeeves specifically around time, motivation, engagement with the community. How have you been feeling these last 2 tours?
Well, it's definitely. I mean, it's definitely been different. I think this officially started last tour with Battle Tour, and I mean, for me personally, the first thing I did was I checked the ACR and see, okay, how did I finish last year?
Oh, last year, yeah.
I want to say, okay, let's see if I can do the same this year. Because if like, okay, so like I checked and I was like, I was 15th. And I was like, okay, I had some pretty good loadouts to finish 15th. Um, so I was pretty jacked up about it. I must have good loadout. If there and with the way I've been playing the game, being a whale and stuff, and being involved and stuff, like the account's only gotten better, right? It's with the new items and strategy and stuff.
Hasn't gotten worse. Yep, I'm with you.
It's definitely not going downhill. So like I really put an effort last tour. Not only just investment wise, but skill wise. So I was fired up for last tour. It wasn't necessarily I want to get top 10, but like I wanted to try to get 15th again.
Yeah.
Which is it's still
wow.
Still a pretty difficult task. But I ended up 16th. So it was kind of like, okay, which told me, wow, ACR is a lot more competitive today than it was a year. I think like in terms of you look at the players that really play hard and are invested in it, ACR is very, I think my top 10 days are over. My top 10s, I have 3. They are basically, because I almost want to say that they're an asterisk because like there is just an open spot there. It's lucky getting in and no one was really going for it. It's a all city tour. One of them was like,
I wouldn't say asterisks. I mean, you earned those. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, I don't think you should discount the achievement that you made for sure, because that takes a lot of effort. You did a phenomenal job. Congratulations. I don't think you should take anything away from that.
But like it's not like that anymore. There's always going to be 10 people going for it. And so like I think that side of it is done, which is fine. But I was like, okay, let's just see where it is. And so me not being kind of like a spreadsheet guy, or because like I'm not like I'm skilled, but I'm not like a Draco, or I don't really know,
or crazy. Right now, like Crazy's blowing up the sheet, and we've had a lot of people on, like some great players. Like the thing is, like it's tough because like Jeeves, I would compare you and I, and like we're above average. Like we're not missing the normal actions, but we're not going out of our way for like the pumpkin on the far right that has nothing to do with any of our lines. But like these guys are just absolutely insane and just going way out of the way to get every single action possible. I'd be like sweating bullets just like even leaving my line that I know that I can get that can stay in first place or front run. I'm with you, man. So yeah, no sweat there. I mean, there are players that are just like exponentially better than us.
Yeah. So okay, so let me finish here. I mean, another one is I mentioned like I'm not even like a 95% player, but my sheet was the highest percentage sheet that I've ever had in my career last tour. I was really happy about it. Like I mean, like I think not usually like if I really try, I can get 90. Like I think last tour was 91.4. I was really happy about it, and I finished 16th. So like even though like I didn't finish 15th and I dropped a little bit, but it just tells me like wow, there's just accounts are more stacked. There's just more people that are in that tier of like crazy good, heavily invested, enthusiastic players. There's more, which is good. So that was like I was really fired up about last tour and being like, okay, this is a recycle tour. Let's just see what I can do and compare from last year. This tour, it's just very chill, and I think part of it is because of the Ghost Valley tracks. I don't like the 2-box per lap track. So like I see Todd, there's top 100. I'm like, wow, dude, all these Ghost Valleys, dude. I mean, I wouldn't do this.
Ghost Valleys.
So much respect to you, my friend. Like crazy. Like I saw Halloween doing crazy, like going for top. Like I actually like message. I'm like, I'm gonna but I'm gonna open a spot for you for my friends list. I want to see how you do it because like I know you're so excited. I've never seen someone so excited for like a tour like this with all these crappy Ghost Valley tours. I hate, but for
Had
me,
I done my
love
research,
ghosts. If you're like into ghosts and stuff like that, I mean, King, he's actually used a lot of tracks with King Boo's Luigi Mansion. For those of you who started in 2022, you probably don't even have the guy because he hasn't really been like in anything. He hasn't been ranked or like relevant or anything. Like you probably don't even know he exists other than a blank spot in your inventory. But yeah, back in the day, he had the bubble gum cannon. He actually was a lot of our demise. He kept, ruining great runs for us back in the day. But this is Crazy's favorite character, and so he's taken him. He took him to 8 quad, I think, as his first 8 quad ever. As soon as the day that 8 quad came out, like this was the first driver he took up because of his love for the guy. So, this is his tour. He knew it was coming, and he's capitalized on it. He's used them. I'm curious. He and Avi has already committed to being on our next episode of Car Talk. Excited to have them both on. They're both going for top 10. They're both good friends and also in the Green Sprout gang. I guess that's the thing still. But I think it'd be cool to hear his experiences to how that's going and how many times he used King Boo, Luigi Mansion. Exactly. In the same case like that. Todd and I love Waluigi. It's just a thing. You won't understand it. It's just like it's our deal. It's weird. We get it, but it's us, man. I think that's what's great about us as human beings is like we can love something and go all out. And there's no hatred. I think I have a lot of respect for people who go all into some. I still remember like Woo Moo likes a lot of like the Rosalina Halloween, and there's some Halloween out there. Halloween was never like my thing. I never really was like into Halloween. I was much more into other stuff. But for those who are into it, this is their tour. This is a great time to go all out for it. And it's actually I'm not a big fan of the Ghost Valleys in general, but it does take me. There are a couple of the old school ones that take me back, man. There's like, and honestly, to be honest with you, Todd, I wish I played when you guys were doing Double Dash and Wii, because those are some of my favorite tracks in Mario Kart Tour, are those specific tracks that I totally missed out on being, like going to college and like doing other stuff. Like I wish I would have gotten into the game back then, because those are some of my favorite tracks are Wii tracks, and some of my other favorite are like the Double Dash tracks. So kudos to you guys. I'm curious, Todd, I have to ask you, what is your favorite Double Dash track? What's your favorite Wii track? If you had to name one.
I always like Delfino Square on the Wii.
We'll never see it.
Nope, never see it. Big bummer. And the mall was always my favorite also. In Wii. Double Dash was the DK Mountain, the one with the cannon that shoots you. Yeah, that was always fun.
That's a good one. Good. So I think we hit on everyone for that specific question, which is totally cool. There was one question I had, just kind of selfishly, I'll tie it into another question we had, which is just around YouTube content. Obviously, Anselev and myself, and also Alberto, who was a paid employee, is now a volunteer. He decided, I'd rather just contribute the stuff that I've been doing just as a volunteer. So, which is really cool. He didn't have to do that. I didn't ask him to do it or anything like that. But kudos to Alberto. He puts in a lot of work. 8 to 10 hours a tour to put together some of the content we did. But would be curious to hear YouTube content. What are you consuming today? Are you watching, some of the bigger channels? You tuning into something specific? And then also, selfishly, like, what would you like to see for the rundown? Obviously, we kind of know what's going to happen for ranked. We know what's going to happen for all cup ranking. And so just naturally, that's what people have been asking for. So that's what we've been giving them. But is there something different? Is there something in addition to that we could offer? Especially now that I have a volunteer, I don't have to pay for their hours. Like let's stack it. What do you guys want? You guys let us know. What kind of content are you consuming right now, and what would you like to see? Anyone can jump in.
So I'll jump in to start off with. It's probably dropped a little bit. At this point, the rundown is my, still go to, gotta consume it every tour. I do enjoy car talk, and that's a lot of fun, and super excited to be here for that. A couple reactions. I mean, I don't know. I big fan of Frenzy fans, and I enjoy them more for their back and forth and fun than necessarily like I'm always learning that much. But do enjoy them too. And I would always tune into Sammy. I feel like specifically for whenever there was big news, or like there was something going on that needed to be discussed, because I thought he had good opinions there, but probably not as much anymore. My one thought on the rundown or content, and I really like what you guys have done to it. I wish it was not quite as so forward thinking.
Okay.
So I can't plan ahead for a full year, right? But over the next 2 or 3 tours that are coming up, right? What are going to be the big hitters for ACR? What are going to be the big hitters for ranked? Just in the next 2 or 3 tours. And I think you had a little bit of that on the rundown this time.
We had it for
in
ranked,
terms of
but
like
not for
that.
ACR. Yeah, we definitely did not have it for ACR. So that's helpful.
But I think just going, okay, hey, in the shorter run, where is the big stuff coming in? Like, I forget what items debuted, on whatever tour last year, but obviously those are going to be huge for ACR. And so, like, I think Blazing Eagle, that's next tour. That was its debut, Taylor Swift, that tour.
Yep.
I think, but I'm not sure. But hey, these are the things that are going to be really helpful over the next couple tours. That helps me plan maybe a little bit better than stuff that's going to be useful 5-6 months from now.
Super helpful. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I will say Blazing Eagle, Swift Talon will be extremely useful over the next year. Those guys, those two specifically, we had a lot of hate going into it. Like, hey, it's just a city item, but man, it crushed it for sure. Super helpful. Thank you for that. Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good point for all cup rankings specifically. It's like what's happening over the next couple tours. Very helpful. Thank you. Others?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't watch a lot of YouTube content as it is. When I first started playing, I was mostly getting my information from Reddit and seeing people's list of driver rankings, kart rankings, glider rankings, and then eventually found my way to your channel, and that's pretty much been where I've resided. So I would say moving forward with the rundown, I would probably echo what Davey says, maybe a slightly shorter view of what's happening in the future is probably beneficial. I would say maybe less attention paid to ranked than ACR, because at this point, I think we know what all the ranks are, and if they're the same as the previous year, your loadouts for those specific courses are probably in good enough shape, because you had to invest last year in those items that
A lot of them, yeah.
it might not be as important to keep up with that. At least so far since the loop started, I haven't made any investments in anything for ranked, and I'm 1 or 2 without even really trying so far in every tour. So I don't foresee that changing. I'd rather focus like on a slightly wider scale, I guess.
Awesome, man. Super helpful. Yeah, no, it sounds like that's a good takeaway for us, is just focus on like the next 2 or 3 tours for all cup ranking, if nothing else. And I think that here's the thing, is like when it comes to like this loop mode, a lot of us think like boring, been there, done that. I remember this tour, but like I don't barely remember what I had for breakfast. Carlos says it all the time too. It's like not all of us actually remember that well, like what we did this time last year. Like it's not like actually that repetitive. It's not like we just like there was a time there last year where we had Coconut Mall, Wario Shipyard, Vanilla Lake, and just like it was back to back, like 3 or 4 tours in a row. It was insane. Like that was a little repetitive. Like that was exhausting because it's like it's the same tracks over and over. But I was like, this is like it's exciting to see go like this lake, Boo Lake again. Like I haven't seen this track in a long time. This is like I feel like I'm kind of going back there for the this literally the second time. Yeah, it might have come back 1 or 2 times. Who knows? But like for me, it feels like a newish track. So to anyone who's like throwing some shade that way, I don't think that's fair. However, I think there's just like this general thought process, like there's almost like like because the chase is gone, because like we know it's not new. There's just like I think people I think the communication specifically has taken a hit. It's like, well, if I come out and say, hey, I really like this track, it's like kind of like this aspect of it or something, then they're gonna be like hated on, or that they're gonna feel that like, well, why didn't you say this last year, you weirdo? Like there's something about it where it's like people feel like they can't come out and say something that they feel about some way the track is. Thing is, like, it's actually not that repetitive. Like it's actually like, if you think about it from Nintendo's perspective, it's actually not the craziest thing in the world to do. But I think for us, like it's a mental thing. It's like a mental aspect of like, we've been here, we've seen this, we've done this. Theoretically, for those of us who have a longer memory than a turtle or whatever animal has a short memory, goldfish, like for us, it's like those, we should just pretend like we have this great memory and we just like, we know this track like the back of our hand, and like it's it's not that big of a, like this is super obnoxious. But for most of us, like for me, I've really enjoyed this tour. Even for the Ghost Valleys, like it's been kind of fun to see going back to these tracks that it's been a while since I've seen. I mean, like really these tracks alone, like they don't come back very often. They kind of come back for like Halloween and like maybe one at a time, not all at the same time. I think coming back at the same time might be the thing that some people are getting burnt out on, because there's like it's just a lot of dark tracks, and like unless you're like I don't know, in like a dark room, like and can see everything. Like it's not like one of those grinds you do at the park like I'm used to. Anyway, long story short, it's probably been like I've been probably talking for like 10 minutes, but love to hear from Jeeves specifically. But I think the hit's gone too far for this loop mode. It's my main point. Is like I think a lot of people are thinking, man, loop mode, boring, don't want to talk about it, don't want to look like a loser. But I think like there's some great things, and I wish the community wouldn't throw so much shade. So Jeeves,
No, I
the
mean,
baton has been handed off.
make the transition, because I'll be honest with you, I really don't. I don't really. I'll look at some of the slides and stuff for the rundown. I mean, the thing of the rundown is, and I don't want you to take any offense to this. There's so many different and diverse accounts from out there, and it's really hard to serve one. And so I totally respect you guys for trying to uh, um, capture everyone's interest in that, and you've done that. With me being a day one player and going all in early when the game started, like my account is like I don't need your rundown stats on who gets what buffs or whatever. Pure examples, like you guys totally were sold, and it helped so many people, which is great. Didn't help for me. It was like, wonderful wings and gold dragon wings, back in the, a couple of years ago. They were huge. I've never needed them. Maybe for one or two tracks, but it was like I've never needed gold dragon wings. I think I actually put some tickets on wonderful wings, but like it naturally got to like level 6 or something, so I took it to 7 and single capped it. But like those were like the hot stuff back then, and whatever. So I am not the person to ask that question, so I will transition into your statement of like, yeah, I totally agree with you. Like I'm sick of, I don't like hearing boring, whatever. I've always said, as long as there's tracks to race, I'm in. and I'll kind of like go back to what you're saying about this tour and stuff. When I was talking about last tour and stuff, like, this tour is just kind of like, with this is like, I'm not as much involved in discourse because like it's just it's basically from the ones that I'm involved in, it's just people posting the runs and this loadout or whatever. And then it's just like, yeah, it's all repetitive, boo-hoo, and I'm like, I'm gonna focus on the people that um I've made good relationships with, and I will focus on people that are still passionate about game. Like I haven't, I don't really have a direct relationship with Crazy, but I reached out to him and be like, hey, I want you on my friends list because I want to see how you do this. You're awesome, And I know he's been on a couple card talks with me and stuff. So like, I like that part of it. So like, I want to get Todd on my friends list now. I want to boot someone off so I can put Todd to see how he's done.
Ooh.
That's
Thank
just
you. I appreciate it.
just
I would add that, people who complain about loop mode, it's not like they're looping who exactly is in your ranked.
no.
It's not like you're racing against dead accounts. So as long as you have even an inkling of competitiveness to you, like that should be new and exciting enough to keep you going.
What I said earlier is,
and I really think they did a good job in terms of like varying the tracks over the last year, right? So there is a ton of variety, and I think they did a really good job of that, where you're not going to get bored.
right. And there's new stuff from when that last tour was around. Like I said last time,
A lot of new stuff, a lot of me's.
So like, it's just, it's the same, but it's not. So like, I'm trying to focus on that kind of stuff. There's, it's sad to see, people leave the game, like, auto drift, and I texted auto drift, it's like, hey,
Did Auto Drift leave the game?
Yeah, he gave his account to Danny, and I said, hey, I've really appreciated all whatever you gave to me. I still hope we keep in touch. I'd like to. I haven't texted Stanler, and he's helped. He's been so supportive of me.
That one's been great too. Yeah.
You're awesome. I loved it when you went for top 10 with the first me tour. I'll never forget it. He crushed it.
Stanley crushed it, man.
So it's just,
honestly, I still. By the way, I have to give a shout out to Stanler. I hope he watches this episode. Stanler probably did the best thing. I mean, he's a saver. He literally saved, like even before it was cool, and just was like, and then we literally told him, "You have to go for this tour." He's like, "What do you mean?" And we're like, because level 8 just came out, and like you could just dump all your tickets, and you could just have like cakewalk in. He's like, "Are you sure?" We're like, "Dude, you have no idea." He's like, "Sure, all right, fine." And he did it. And he was like, "That was actually really easy." And we were like, and they just never did it again. He just kept going right back to saving. And we like it was like we told him exactly what to do. He did it. And then he was just like, wow, that was actually awesome. It was just like low key one of my favorite moments of like this community, and like, who he is. I mean, he just has a save. I'm not a saver. I don't know how these people save tickets. This is insane. How you guys do that, it blows my mind. I can't save more than like 30 tickets. Like saving hundreds of that's not.
But so yeah, kind of like the change is just kind of seeing, okay, you're seeing people that you've you've been interactive with and engaged with since the early days, and they're not there anymore. Like Octavia's not around anymore, and Natalie's not playing much anymore. I don't mean to.
I feel like this is senior year of high school for you or something like that. You're like, man, we had 4 great years together, man. Like we're all gonna go our separate ways. Some of us are gonna be friends, maybe somehow, some way. It's kind of like surreal.
But like for me personally, like those relationships meant a lot for me. I mean, I still talk to Natalie. I don't talk to Sandler much. I don't talk to Dad as much as, I'll hear from Dad about, we'll talk about tennis and stuff. So it's nice to get
tennis.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nice to get because like we're people. There's more to our lives. But I mean,
For
even though we
sure.
love this game,
I just saw you more as a pickleball guy. To be honest with you.
I'm a tennis fan, to be honest with
Love
you.
it. All right. All right. Sorry, go
So,
ahead.
but yeah, so like it's just kind of, you know, if the heartbreak for that is just to kind of say, okay, like it's not, I'm not gonna see Stamler post his crazy ranked runs because that's what he used to do. I
Mhm.
used to buy Stanler's packs because they were cheaper when in US dollars, and he'd PayPal me back and stuff. Uh it's just crazy. So but then you fill that with, okay, crazy's, look at crazy's coming out. This is gonna be the crazy episode before crazy's on. And
No, I'm looking forward to it. I will say, because people have realized, like, it has to be mental. Like, I don't know, like there's no other way to describe it other than like a mental like wave have hit us to where like there's nothing new coming to the game, and you either have to embrace it and still enjoy this game for what it is, or you have to challenge yourself, find new ways to enjoy the game. And not everyone, like, some other people want to challenge, like, different challenges, different life, and feel like, hey, I came here, I conquered. For like auto drift, like, he was extremely skilled, one of the best players in the game. He probably felt like, I came here, got top 10 x amount of times, like, I have nothing left to prove. I've done it. Like, I've been there, done it. And there are other people, like, my good friend Avi Quado, who's been on Kart Talk many times, is going for top 10 for the very first time with her brand new account. So there is, a situation where, not a situation, but Shadow Legend did buy Stanler's account. Stanler wanted to say, he said, this is a great opportunity for me to step away from the game, not be tempted to buy anything else left in the game. I'll sell it for pennies on the dollar. Shadow Legend, acquired it from him, bought it from him, and then he no longer needed his account, so he either gave it or sold it to Aviquado. Now Aviquado is using Shadow Legends account, which had achieved a top 10 in the past, and going for top 10 herself. Now here's the thing: is like in her account, she's been going. I remember when we had her first on Kart Talk. I don't know, it was probably 6 months ago. She went for her very first top 100, and she had to get like 95, 96% to get top 100 with her, basically Dolphin account. And then the next tour she got top 100. The next tour she got top 100. Next tour she had to get top 50, and then she had to get top 50 again, all with like this 95, 96% on the DKR spreadsheet, which, by the way, is still one of my favorite spreadsheets in the game. And it got to the point now where, like, now insert, now she acquired this new account. Again, the thing is like, and I'm happy to talk about like how we acquire accounts and what that means, and there's different thoughts of impressions on your investments, and I'm happy to hear a obvious side of and perspective on it. But like, she now can use her 96% and get top 100, which is phenomenal for her. And she puts in more time in the game, that getting top 100 than I would ever for top 100, probably even more than some of my top teens that I've gotten in the past. So kudos to her. Kudos for her going for it. Absolutely love Aviquado. But it does raise the question of, like, accounts, right? So you have exchanging of accounts, between whether they purchased them or acquired them, whether it was Danny. And Danny is, well known as one of the best, actually skilled players in the game. Reach out to Danny. Would love to have Danny on Card Talk in the near future. I think he just was busy last time that we reached out to him. But I mean, like, what is an account? I'm actually looking forward to the day, like, going back full circle to loot mode. I'm looking forward to the day where, like, if we all had the same exact account, how cool would that be for ranked? Like, we're all just like, it's all about who put in the more time, who put in the more, who put in the better run. I think that's how games should be. It's like, let's just imagine where we have like an even playing field, see who invested more time in the game, who has better skill. Yeah, and I get there's a part of a whale to it, but I do think that was to keep the game, to get it to where it was, get it to where it is today, to get it so that they could build enough tracks. And now it's like, I'm looking forward to the day might take a year where, let's say, Todd, Davey, Jeeves, say we all have the same account. Let's go at it. Like, let's go full competition mode. Let's see who gets the best on this track with the same dang account. Let's go. Like, how fun would that be?
We saw that.
That's how I see it.
We saw that with Sam and K-Fed, and I thought it was great. It's just like, let's just see what happens. I know in ER, God mode and Aussie Kart. Let's just let's just not hold. Let's just see what happens.
What's the worst that could happen? Like, we're just
The difference between when you're in ER, the difference between first and second is really, let's just see. That's what I like. So that's cool. And you're right, Studfit. I think I'm more focused on rank now. Like this tour, like this, I'm only playing the tracks that I like this tour. I'm not playing much the Ghost. I'm not doing much the battles. I don't play. I'll get my top 100, but like it's not going to go beyond that. In terms of like the sharing accounts, man, I don't. It's interesting.
Whoa! I want to make sure we're not talking about shared accounts.
But like with the other thing,
like, story.
It's just with mine, I could never sell my account. I couldn't, because like I still like to play with what I have. I take pride in the investments that I have. It's just I couldn't do it. I don't care if you gave me $1 million to do it.
I do think there's a huge difference, massive difference between when someone lets someone use their account for a tour and just like, hey, you're a great player, get me top 100, and then it's back to my tour, and now I can use that badge, or even two people sharing account, which is boosting 100%. Two people using the same account in the same exact tour. That is by far one of the very few rules in ER that we are against, because that calls into question every single person who's gone for top whatever in ER. However, I will say, this is my opinion, and then we've Jeeves and I have discussed this offline in the staff server. And I would say that the majority would agree with my stance, which is that as long as it's permanent, like as long as one person is done with the account, they sell to somebody else. Like Stanler's not going to come back and say, hey, by the way, why don't we just like go at it this tour? That's not cool with that. But if Stanler sold it, that's now Shadow's account. Like he purchased just like anything else he would purchase in a store. Maybe someone bought like a pair of Jordans for $1,000, sold it for $500, sold for $100. Like it's still whatever that person's value is to them. But like that is, and honestly, that account is less valuable than it was a year ago, because a year ago, like things were just, the game was different. And now we know new information. We know that value will, in maybe a year, maybe it's not worth $800. Maybe it's worth $80 because no one would buy. Honestly, I feel like I've even thought about, like, if I were to sell my account, I probably would get just as much as Stanley would get for his account, because like at the end of the day, although it has like a nice, celebrity aspect to it, like at the end of the day, it's just Studfit's account. It's like, it probably is the same as Stanler's account. Like we probably spend the same amount investing in the account. Anyway, my long story short is that as long as it's permanent, as long as one ownership is moved to another ownership, like no one's still borrowing their car that they sold to somebody else, I don't care. Like, that should be and from that point forward, as long as it's a clear cut, I think that's completely fair. I think that should happen across the board. I'm happy to support it. If Autodrift sells his account to Danny has that account. That is now Danny's account, 100% clear cut. If Autodrift wants to come back, get your own account. You think about your friend Octavia did the same thing, right? So I think she sold her account or gave her accounts away. She started a new account, and now she has she had a free to play account. Of course, Octavia, very competitive, got a beefy account all of a sudden, and she had her own fun with a brand new account. And so I think that's if Stanley wanted to come back in the game, that's how we should do it. I think he's very happy about the clear cut walk away that he did. I'm sure the same thing for Autodrift, and I hope that the same thing for Stanler as well. So from that perspective, that's where I stand on the issue, is like, as long as it's clear cut, as long as there's no gray area, I think we're all good. I think I personally rooting for Shadow Legend rooting for Avi. I think that everyone's excited. I think this is a win-win situation. So just curious, what's your thoughts? Is there any gray area?
Well, I mean, I will say with Octavia, she actually, when she originally gave her account back, gave her account away, she was able to get it back from that person. I haven't. I think she probably gave it away again. I don't. It's this is where it gets controversial. I'm a passionate player. Obviously. I think especially with ACR, I agree. It's a win situation. I hope Avi gets the top 10 and stuff. I think, I will say that with for me personally, like my all my achievements and stuff, where I think ACR is based on not only time, skill, it's also based on investments. All
That's
of
fair.
my is my investment, and no one's told me what to do, or I didn't inherit that. It's probably just a small factor of it, but it's still a factor. I will just leave it at that.
Well, hey, let's let Todd and Davey jump in. How do you guys feel about accounts as people are starting to kind of phase out of the game? Giving up accounts, selling accounts. I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
So like, I feel very personally about my account, right? I mean, I feel like my account tells a story. I can look at different investments that I made. I know what was going on at the time, why I've got Builder Toadette at level 3, 980. That was my first ACR, and I needed a last boost. And at the time, I thought that might be a good investment. It was not, but it got me over the hump for what I needed. And like, I wouldn't want to buy another account, because for me, the journey is building my account and building it the best that I can. And that's what is exciting to me. In terms of buying someone else's account or people, anything like that, whatever anyone wants to do, I totally think is fine. I mean, I'm a non-whale, so I mean, I've spent money on the game, in terms of gold pass or things like that, but I've not invested a ton of money, right? My kind of perspective is whether you spent that money, you spent money to build your account, or you spent money to buy an account, either way, like, you're using money as an advantage. And so it's all the same to me, whether or not it was money you spent to buy someone else's account or money you spent to build your account. You're using your hard-earned dollars, which you're very welcome to gain that advantage. And so I don't see much of it. I mean, either way, you still have to be incredibly skilled to get top 10. If you gave me one of those accounts, I don't think I'd have the time or the skill to get top 10. I could probably get top 100, but I don't think I'm going to get top 10. So it's an incredible achievement. And it is not just about the investments, though that's obviously a big factor, but it's definitely not the only one. The time and the skill are still huge. And so where the investments came from, to me, doesn't make too much of a difference. That's my perspective.
Davey, you took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. You could be a day one player who bought all the banners, bought Ruby packs, bought all the special items, or you could just buy an account. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, as far as I'm concerned. What was the other? I was going to say something else, but I forgot.
It was going to be how I probably could have gone. Oh, go ahead.
It was that I too can't wait for the day when everybody has the exact same loadouts, exact same levels, and you can just race. It's called Mario Kart,
It's like
you can just kart.
No, here's the thing: is like the Mario Kart. The hard part I just never really. And the reason I never got into Double Dash or Wii is because like I just never like was a racing fan, really like a racing guy. But what I love about this game is like the combos, the frenzies. There's something about going through that first item box, and you're just like, there's some like party, like the endorphins are running at like full mode. You're just getting super hyped. Like, what am I getting? Am I like I'm in first place? Could I get a coin frenzy? Am I getting a coin box frenzy? Am I getting a giant band frenzy? Like, that's the hype that I live for. As sad as it is, it
This
probably says
is
more about me than anything else. But to me,
this is
that's why I enjoy
hyperbole.
it.
Of course, this is hyperbole, but there is no better feeling in the world than sitting on a couch next to someone and blue shelling them or red shelling them or green shelling them at the finish line and seeing the look on their face when you do it. And you don't have to worry about points. You don't have to worry about frenzies. You don't have to worry about actions. You're just racing.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think if I was sitting next to someone I was racing against, I would agree with that. It's a good point. No, I think just to go full circle, yeah, I actually am looking forward to the day where we can actually all have equal accounts, and I think the ride was fun. Like, right, so Jeeves and I have gone back and forth about this topic specifically. It's like someone's like, back in the day, I used to pull pipes and like get all these items. It's like, you know what? I'm okay with that being back in the olden days. I'm excited for this new age where we do have all like similar accounts, in probably like March, April, we'll all be, similar accounts. And the opportunity for me to go for top 10 has probably already passed. And at this point in time, kind of like what, Jeeves was saying, it's like, it was good while it lasted. Like this is the new age where, people who are just generally better will be more successful in the game. And you know what? It was fun while it lasted. It was fun being a whale and being like mediocre at best, and having things eventually being turned over to the better players. I think that's how the game should probably end. I mean, like, again, not that the game will end. I don't want that to be taken the wrong way, but I do think that good players should be more successful over a period of time, and those who had an advantage for the last 4.5 years, it was good while it lasted. So anyway, long story short, like, I'm excited for those players, and honestly, one of the takeaways I have from a lot of this experience, I need to get an iPad. I need to play with an iPad. That's one thing that we've had some conversations in ER, whether it's Aviquado or others. They've been playing with these iPads this whole time. These guys are like, it's like, what? Like, we weren't talking about all this. I mean, it kind of leaked out a couple times if people were playing with iPads, but like, it actually, some of the best players are playing with iPads. Just to let you know, if you haven't realized this. So just download the game. I know you have an iPad laying around somewhere. Just download that on the iPad, try it out. Who knows? Maybe even try it out in horizontal mode, get a better view anyway, and just give it a shot. I know, Jeeves, you probably have like 4 or 5 iPads in your home you're not even using for Mario Kart. So I promise you.
I think in ER, I said I have no desire to play it on the iPad because I think a fair chunk of amount of time I play the game, I'm on the crapper. So,
oh, there's no doubt for me. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about you. You probably have iPads. So let me ask you. For me, I promise you, I'm playing like while my boys are getting their bath and shower, and like as I'm doing other stuff. But for you, I mean, how much is actually sitting down playing the game?
Most of my time is playing after my kids go to bed. That's I'm grinding because like it actually takes a lot of continuous time.
It does.
To get those bots grinded down. So that's that. I mean, that's a difficulty with me. I remember texting Audrift being like, "Hey," when I said, "Hey," I don't mean to put him on the spot because he's such a nice guy.
He's leaving anyway. Who cares?
I said, "Hey, let's keep in touch. You've been an inspiration. I told you before. I said I always hate like during ACR runs. I get the text, the dreaded text from Autodrift being like, "Hey, there's some spots open for top 10." I'm like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" Right? It's like
you ruined my life. Yeah, I'm with you. Been there.
But one of his friends is like, "Yeah, I'm actually watching a TV show with my son now."
That's awesome.
So whatever. I mean, his life. I'm sure he doesn't regret anything that he's done. He's such an inspiration. He's done so much for the community.
He's done a lot, for sure, no doubt.
Like I was like, I'm glad that he can do that. So, yeah. And then you talk about Avocado, like she's just full throttle. I mean,
She's a
I
terror.
she's gonna kill it. So I can't wait to see what she says the next time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And with that being said, I am going to start to wrap up the episode. It's been an absolute blast. I know we had originally planned, I know we kind of delayed the start, but I think we'll get into a little bit of fun with the shout outs, because I like to give you the opportunity to shout out someone in the community, one person. So if you had two or three, they can get mad at me. And just to say, hey, Studfit said just one. Studfit's fault. I was going to have you as number 2 or number 3. I promise you. But get mad at Studfit. Totally fine with that. Totally fine with that. But would love to get you guys to shout out one of somebody that's helped contribute to some of the fun in the game or success in the game, or whatever you just want to shout out. And we'll start with the birthday boy. Happy birthday, by the way. Again, another time. I feel like this is such a privilege to be with you on your birthday, Davey. But happy birthday again. What kind of shout out would you like to give?
Yeah, so I'll give a shout out to one of my good friends. He goes by G, and been communicating with him for quite a while. Kind of been tracking his progress. He's kind of in that gold pass or just gold pass plus, and made a lot of good progress. He's pretty consistently in the top 100 now, which is a little bit of an inspiration there. So kind of tracking and following what he's doing, and a lot of good things there. And if this is our goodbyes, I will just say it's been an honor. I've been watching your channel for quite some time. Never thought I'd actually probably be on one of these things, but super happy to. I know we've kind of circled around a couple times, and glad to make it work. And yeah, on the birthday, that it's fun. So thank you much.
Yeah, so glad you're able to join. There was actually just full circle, behind baseball type of moment. We actually were gonna there's one moment where we were gonna have you and we're gonna have Davey and Davey Noodles on the same episode. I'm glad that did not work out, because that would have been super confusing for a dummy like me. I'm glad that you got your own episode, and again, a much more condensed panel of guests as well. Even better for you. Happy birthday, Danny. Appreciate you joining us. And with that, I'll turn things over to Todd. Thanks again for you joining us. What shout out would you like to give, and what kind of goodbye would you like to say to your brand new friends and fans?
Well, before I knew what the guest list was tonight, I think I told you I was going to shout out Jeeves, just because the last time I saw him on Kart Talk, which was the first time I think I saw him on Kart Talk, that wine cellar just, immediately made my heart flutter a little bit. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I can't shout out Jeeves, so I'll shout out Crazy, but this has been the crazy episode, so I can't do that. So instead, I will shout out a friend of mine who was a day one player, and I still love seeing the level 1 next to his name, because he never picked the game up really. And that's he goes by Tom Gray in the game and in real life. So shout out Tom. I'm sorry it didn't stick for you.
I'm sorry, Tom. We'll put you in the same category as my friend Ryan and Brian. Wish you the best in whatever you're doing for 60 hours a tour every 2 weeks. That would be for you. But yes, thank you again for joining. I appreciate that, Todd. And we wish you the best of luck on your first top 100. It sounds like there's a couple more in your future. Excited to see how those turn out for you.
We'll see. Thank you so much for having me. And I know we too circled around a few times. I was out of town a couple times when you asked me to be on. I'm glad it worked out this time.
Yeah, this is actually a good time just to mention to the community. I would say that the general thought process on joining a Kart Talk, it's been harder to get some people to join just because of the loop mode, or just people, it's not as much of a bucket list item for them, which is totally fine. But if you're interested, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you viewer at home, if you're interested in joining us for Kart Talk, reach out to me either in the comments, or if you have a Discord, feel free. That's actually probably the best way to reach out to me on the actual Discord. Let me know that you'd like to join, because we are looking for new guests. I don't know how. I mean, I definitely want to keep the rundown going as long as possible, but Kart Talk might change over the next couple years, next couple of tours. I've even thought about, like, capping it at a specific tour, like episode number, whether it be 60, 65, or G's favorite number 69. Who knows? But I'd love to have a new people join. It really depends on you guys. It really depends. I mean, really, Car Talk has been about the community. It's been about new guests. I love having the super studs on. Usually we have 20% of the people on every episode being a super stud, because it's like a character. It's like, Jeeves, what he's going to bring to the table. I want to know what Jeeves thinks about this. I want to know what Frenzy Grind thinks about that. I want to Frenzy fans thinks about this. But I also love hearing new voices. And so the opportunity of Car Talk is to bring on new voices, to introduce new people. And I love that about honestly, my channel. What brings me the most joy is I'm providing a platform for everyone to contribute, whether that is, during the reactions, which I hated the reaction. I hated the reactions were dumb to me. But for me, it's like it gave me an opportunity to get my members included, get them involved, and they appreciate it. So for them, I did it for them. Car Talk was always about the members. It was always about, like, whose voice can we hear from? So with that being said, in this loop mode, we're becoming a little bit more, a little bit less selective. So if you'd like to join, you haven't joined yet, please let me know. We'd love to have you on. And with that being said, we'll let probably the person who's been on Car Talk more than anybody send us off. What shout out would you like to have, Jeeves? And anything else you want to say to all of your numerous fans, including Todd, I guess, at this point?
Bit of my drink here.
A little cheers.
I want to cheers to Davey. Happy birthday, buddy.
Davey for the birthday, and Todd for the super fan.
I haven't known you much, but it's your birthday. Cheers. So
thank you.
Happy birthday,
Cheers.
Davey.
Your life is now complete. Congratulations. Any shout out you want to get? That was your shout out, I guess, at this point.
You Studfit.
Oh, thank you.
I had some other ideas, but man, things are such in limbo, man. I really got to express how much you meant to me. I mean, I've said it before. It started off with that stupid strat of the week with the column where you're doing really crazy stuff. Like, who's gonna do this? You're going off and you're doing the what's it called? The manual, not manual. What is it? The auto.
To put it into turn the auto drift off or whatever it is.
Yeah, where you can go beyond the boundaries. And
who
do that? But it's cool. But I'm like, wow, this guy knows his stuff. And then the next thing was, and like, you didn't even I didn't even know what you looked like, but you had such a clear, and you were American, and because like the only people I really watched was Shiny and Carlos, and here's an American, he knows his stuff. This is awesome. And then like you did the thing with the hitbox and whatever, so that really got me. Man, I was hooked. And it really grew from there. So fast forward to now, man. I mean, I would really hope you continue this with Car Talk, and I would really hope you continue to bring people like Todd and Davey, just because like they're not like the whale completely passionate stuff. These are people that I really, in my times with the game now, I like to see new success and seeing someone get like a first top 100. That I'm fine. Like cool. After I want your friend code. Just,
you can boot me.
So like, and I don't know who I'm gonna cut off, but
you'll find a way. Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, you've come to see me. You've done so much for the community. I don't really have much words beyond that. I mean, the rundown is cool, but like I think your interaction with the community is even more important, to be honest with you. I know you put a lot of effort into the rundown and stuff, but like I've said, I don't really pay attention to that because my account is so different that I don't really look at, I'm just a different account. But man, you have a connection with people. And I really hope you see that. And so, like, I really hope you continue just bringing in people like Issa. Who else do you have? You had Webby. You had just people that just play the game and for the love of it, and not for the accounts and the ACR and the ranked and stuff. You know, people. It's so like I would like to know more. I would like, I know you personally. I would like you to share more stuff personally about you, because you have a lot of fans that want to know about it. So,
Okay. All right.
it's-
Well,
yeah.
you know what? Honestly, I have to have you stop there because I'm blushing too hard. This is these are very kind remarks. I really appreciate that. I will say that there are probably about like 12 people that said, I would be so interested in joining, but I'm like, now's not like the best time, either with health issues or like I don't feel comfortable. And my challenge would be like, now's when no one's watching anyway. So don't just join us anyway for the next card talk. We're all just hanging out, just having fun. But this is like, hopefully Todd and Dave, you can admit, like, we're just hanging out. We're just having fun. So there's no pressure. There's no like, you have to be like the best version of yourself. You don't have to be in, top performance shape. I mean, ultimately, like we're all just hanging out, talking about something that we are passionate about. If you, I cannot think of one person that's been on Car Talk who said, you know what? I regret being on Car Talk. I wish you did not invite me. Everyone's been either maybe Jeeves, my apologies, but most people have been like, hey, had a great time. Would love to join anytime. And so if nothing else, even if they didn't want to join again, they just had a good time. Just like it was part of their experience. And for me, that's why I have this channel. That's why I keep it going as far as I have. It's just like, this is your channel. This is the viewers channel. This is just a platform. People tune into it, and I get to moderate it. But I get to, my favorite part is just introducing new people. And there's so many people that play this game. I mean, I just know like I have 2,500 or so subscribers. I have not had 2,500 guests. So if you are watching this, you're one of those 2,500 that have not been on Card Talk, reach out. We'd love to have you. Again, for me, it's always about highlighting the great people in this community. This community is great. Honestly, I've not met maybe one or two people who have been negative, but the majority of this community is just generally positive, generally root for everybody. And at the end of the day, that love is that's what my memory is. I didn't really answer the question when someone talks to me about 2033 and asks me about Mario Kart Tour. It's about the love. It's about this community. It's about the passion. It's about everyone engaging with each other, and just like we don't know each other from Adam, but like we generally want to help each other out, and that positivity will be something I will never forget my entire life. I promise you. So with that being said, until next time, may the frenzy luck be with you guys. Love you all. See you guys.